The ex-official fashion designer for Miss Italia was also one of the judges for Italy's Project Runway. 前意大利小姐官方服装设计师，也是意大利版天桥骄子的裁判之一。
My name is Joshua Sanna. I'm a fashion designer from Italy. I was like a judge on Project Runway for like 2 seasons, Italy though, the Italian version. And luckily I was the official designer as well for Miss Italia, which is one of the biggest contests in Italy. So I was like 2 years working alongside them, traveling and touring with them. TV ads, interviews, films, many film companies, local companies and from outside of my country as well, called me to if I could be interested in designing dresses and that for their new films. I've had a passion for China for many years. With a lot of my creations, I've tried to bring in a little of the Asian type of look into my designs, even when I was living in Italy. I just found China, the fabrics and their culture, I found it very interesting. So this is one of the things that actually brought me here to China. I think something like Project Runway, I think because they're basically left with the mannequin, fabric and the sewing machine, I think it would be brilliant for them. Because then they can actually be free. They're given a theme, yes they are. They're given a theme, but the theme is how they make that theme. The fabrics, the colours, they're not told what colour to use, they're just given a theme. And from that theme, then they create their collection, or each. Because the whole course of Project Runway, they've got individual, they have a timer, I think you have to do about 10 garments, 10 things. And then we vote down of how it was made, the personality and blah, blah, blah. And I was actually a critic designer. And there was actually one guy who was absolutely fantastic. He was an amazing designer. But he did a creation one day, absolutely terrible. Because he had got his head a little bit too big, as he knew he was the best and blah, blah, blah. Where he was ruining himself by giving this attitude of like, I'm the best, I don't need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he actually did a collection that was really awful. And for me to, as a critic judge, was really difficult for me to actually bring him down a little bit and say, look, this collection I don't like. He was sort of like, and he got very snooty with me. But I had to be honest, all of us want to be good. All of us want to move on and be successful, But you have to, as well, take the critic as well, and the good and the bad from anything you do. So that was actually a little bit difficult for me, but he actually afterwards thanked me, because he actually looked again at his collection and he went, yeah, you're right. This wasn't made very well. This wasn't stitched very, because he got an attitude. We all get an attitude, I think, sometimes when we're doing a collection or whatever. We're really proud of it, and sometimes we don't see as well, maybe if there's something not quite right, we don't see it because we're looking at it all the time. So I think schools or, of fashion, it's not just using a PC with a mouse and drawing on a computer. That's one part of it. But I don't see much of dressmaking schools. That's what I would like to see more. Because if I'm doing a course on design, I would like to make as well the garment. Number one, because my dresses were different, and everyone, all the contestants as well, were really so happy that I was there. Because many of them, before I actually became the designer for Miss Italia, used to call me and said, Tony, can you lend me a dress for Miss Italia? This is before I came. And that's how they actually got me involved in becoming the designer, because there was actually, like, on the years before that, there'd be 3 or 4 dresses of mine, and people would say, wow, where'd you get this dress from? And they said, well, it's Tony's. Okay. And obviously after time, they just said, well, look, should we just ask him to actually be the designer for the whole thing? Being a designer, for Miss Italia is a very big privilege anyway, of even being asked, number one. You've got to remember, this contest, you've got 30 contestants, thank you. That one. Every day, and they're different. So obviously my collections I had to take all my collections from my shop and take them with me and travel. And obviously it was very stressful as well, because obviously young girls who want to be Miss Italy, okay, they can be very heavy and very, very, like demanding. See, number one, you have to clip your brain away from that. I have many a times as well, their parents, coming up to me with the phone saying, my daughter's number 14, my daughter's number, because obviously they want them to win. And I had to obviously click off from that as well. So it wasn't easy being a designer for Miss Italia, because, I was, dressing them. It wasn't just being the designer. It was that, the dresses were made by me and they were mine. So obviously when I see a model, I know exactly what I want to put on her. And when you're told by these models, who are nobody at the moment, just put the best dress on me, well, all of them are the best. So which one do I choose for you then? And these are the things you had to listen to. This new collection I've made, I've tried to bring in a little bit of originalita, it's like original look. But at the same time, you can wear it all the time and go to special occasions or whatever. Because before I used to do a lot of glamour and weddings and bridal wear and everything. So I've gone completely a different way this time. You can see that it's got symmetrical cuts to it. It's got a little bit of my culture, but not a lot, but with the shawls and the big collars, and there is a little bit of my culture, but I've gone more into like an Asian look on this collection.
Rely on your parents when you're at home. 在家靠父母. Rely on your friends when you're outside. 出外靠朋友. Rely on Niu Man when you are in Shanghai. 在沪靠牛人. Connections is everything in Shanghai. Shanghai Niu Man brings you people who excel in what they do in Shanghai. 关系就是一切。上海牛人带给你在上海，在自己领域中有卓越表现的人士。Expand your social network resources today. 今天就拓展你的人脉资源吧。